Kyle, welcome to San Francisco. I know it's been a wild week. Take me through the first tour of the stadium. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, it was cool to come in here. I remember this place when I was here when I was little. I didn't realize it was the same place till about halfway through it. There was a couple, I was like, I remember that. And they're like, yeah, it's the same place. We just renovated it all. When I turned that corner and ran into about 1,000 people surprising us, that was a little different. It felt good and made me excited to be here.
Listening to you speak at the press conference, you're a very detail-oriented guy. Has that always been the case?
When it comes to football, football is something I've been very passionate my whole life. When I'm in the office and it's football, I'm 100% on, and usually when I'm out of the office, it's 100% towards my family. I don't really golf, I don't do much, but just hang out with my wife and kids.
So you're not on family vacations, drawing up plays to maximize time?
No, I'm either 100% on or 100% off. So I go hard enough when I'm in the building, and when we get that time off, I check out for a little bit because I know how hard that grind is, and you got to be ready.
At what point in your career did it click for you in terms of knowing the X's and O's of offense?
I think it happened for me at Tampa. I was a quality control for John Gruden, where you got to draw every play and break down all the film. And John, it was a great guy to work for because his offense, he ran everything. But the second year was kind of, I feel, what changed my career, where when I did get free time, I'd always go spin it with the defense. And the defensive staff there was unbelievable. Monty Kiffin was a coordinator. DB coach was Mike Tomlin. Raheem Morris was an assistant. Joe Woods, who's the coordinator at Denver, he was the other QC. So they had a bunch of great coaches. They had a great system in Tampa too. They would let me sit in on every meeting, gave me all their teaching points, and I really got to understand fronts and coverages, and that's really when it clicked for me on offense. I had a knowledge of all these plays, and I actually knew why we were running these plays. And that's really, I feel, what's changed my whole career in terms of not just running plays just to run them, knowing why you're running them and why you got to change things depending on the front you're going against.
In your 9 seasons as an offensive coordinator in the NFL, 6 of them have been with top 10 units. I'm curious if you could describe what's it like when you're in the zone. I'm going to call this play, it's going to work. I'm going to call this play, it's going to work. I compare it to if you're a shooter in basketball and everything's falling.
It's very similar. It's a similar feeling. I haven't had that too many times in basketball, but I had it a couple in a few church leagues. It's when you start tying the plays together. You can start thinking a few plays ahead, and this play's going to set up that play, and you avoid third down because first and second down are going so well, and that tempo picks up, your players pick up, you start to kind of dominate somebody, and it's more the players that give you that confidence because you get a defense on their heels and you start to know, hey, they can't stop us, and that's when you get the most aggressive.
Is that the best part of being a coach for you?
I mean, that's a fun feeling, but I feel like football kind of it lets you know who you are a little bit. The NFL humbles you a lot. If you ever feel real good about yourself in this business, it's gonna bring you down very quickly. I always feel that you don't truly know someone until you see how they handle adversity. In football, you deal with that a lot, and it's not all fun. Sometimes like, man, I just wish I could get away and not do this, but then quickly you got to get about 2 days off, and you're like, man, I got to get that feeling back again.
They talk about players, rookies specifically, having that welcome to the NFL moment. As a coach, did you have that moment? Is there that same kind of parallel experience where, like you said, it humbles you and then you learn from it and you can continue?
In Houston, I was fortunate enough to get put in a position where I was a coordinator very young and took over an offense that we were just starting to take off. Matt Schaub, not a lot of people knew about, but he was a very good player. We had Andre Johnson, who was in his prime. We had Owen Daniels, who was a second-year tight end, who not many people knew about, but was as good as any tight end over these last 10 years. We took off. It was my first year as a coordinator. I think we were 3rd in the NFL, and I believe the next year we were 4th, and I was like, man, this is kind of easy. And then I went to Washington and tried to do some of the same stuff and realized this doesn't work for everybody. You got to adjust to each team. You got to have a foundation that really never changes, but you got to be ready to adjust all the time. And I got humbled with that in Washington. Was able to adjust while we were there, and some of the proudest moments was in Washington, especially in 2012 when we changed our offense to fit our quarterback, and we did some real good things, got to the playoffs and lost. And you see how quickly things can change, and then going to Atlanta, it's been the same deal. We did some good things in our first year. I think we were 7th in the league in offense. We weren't scoring enough points, and we had way too many turnovers. And to move the ball as well as we did, but not have the result with the points, it was frustrating. And to make a few changes and really to stick to what you believe in and just get better, it was nice to fix those results this year.
Things are going to happen quick from here. Get the combine coming up, free agency, the draft. But first things first, you got to evaluate what's here right now. And you said that during your press conference. But what goes into that? When you turn on the film, what are you hoping to see from the guys that are currently on the roster?
You always look for talent. How good are they? Where do you think you can take them? But then you want to see how they play. You know, most people in this league are pretty talented. That's why they're here. You want to see how they compete when things are going well, how they compete when things are bad. And you can find out a lot about people watching that. You know, do they shut it down? Do they keep competing? Were they pointing fingers? Something Dan Quinn used to always say to me, but I truly believe it. And I see a lot better than I hear. And I don't listen too well. I try my best to do it, and we all do, and we get better at it. But what really helps me the most is seeing something, and we can see it pretty good when you turn on that tape. It usually tells me a lot about who they are as a person, their character, obviously how they are as a player, but you'd be surprised how much you can learn watching that stuff.
We're excited to have you here, man. Best of luck to you. Look forward to more chats, and thanks for the time.
I appreciate it. I feel the same way.